Hi. So here in early spring, I find myself starting to move towards the practices that are going to support a deeper cleanse when true spring hits. So I've recently reincorporated oil pulling, which feels really good, and sort of like reviewing my Ayurvedic principles, just to make sure I have everything lined up and ready to go. And one of the practices that has felt really important for me lately and is a foundational practice for cleansing and detoxing is a lymph practice. So the lymphatic system is sort of like the yin to the cardiovascular system, right? So the blood is like moving and it's taking nutrients to the cells and then it's removing waste from the cells. And then that waste gets actually handed off to the lymphatic system. And, they say the lymphatic system doesn't have its own pump. I'm not convinced the cardiovascular system has a pump. I'm not convinced the heart is a pump. But there is certainly like a very active movement happening there in the cardiovascular system that's not happening in the lymphatic system. You have to move your own lymph. So you've probably heard of rebounding or jumping being supportive. Walking with your arm swinging certainly is supportive. Dancing is really supportive to moving the lymph. So in addition to it's the first line of detox basically in the body. It's the very first system that's moving waste and toxins out and away. So when moving into a cleanse or detox, you really want to start with the lymph and ensure that the lymph is moving well, right? Just like next, you want to ensure that the bowels are moving well so that you're actually moving things out of the body when you start stirring up things in the liver, etc. Okay, so we want to support the lymph. It's also very linked to the emotional state, right? So the molecules of emotion get moved through and out of your system via the lymph as well. And if you have lymphatic stagnation, like swelling, puffiness, that might be contributing to and or resulting from emotional stagnation. So you want to get good at moving the lymph and the emotions every day in one way or another, whether that's a walk or a dance or a practice like the one I'm going to share with you right now. So the lymph is actually pretty shallow to the skin and it doesn't need a whole lot of pressure to move it. In fact, I'll be right back. There's such a thing as a lymph brush, and this is a really soft, natural bristle brush. And if you just use this, that's about the right amount of just kind of gently sweeping. That's about the right amount of pressure, right? So you could use a brush or you could just do it with your hands. We really want, so the lymphatic drainage ducts are here at the clavicles. And just so you know, the right side, the right drainage duct handles the head and I think the right arm and shoulder and like the liver, and that's it. And the left drainage duct is a little bit bigger and it's handling the whole lower body, the left side of the body, left arm, shoulder. Okay. So they're right here. And really we want to support them to clear, we want to support the lymph to clear from the drainage ducts out to the extremities and then back. So the very first thing to do to start is this pumping action. This is a practice that I learned many, many years ago. So your fingertips are gently resting in this divot here above the collarbones, which is where the ducts are. And then you're pumping So there's like a very gentle pressure from your fingertips plus this movement. And immediately I start feeling things moving in my throat. Like I might salivate a little bit more. I feel this sort of like a soft, like a rain stick almost sensation in my throat. Okay, so you don't even need to do a ton of it, just a little bit of that. And then you can use the fingers along the side of the throat. These, oh, I forget what those muscles that feel so good when they get massaged are called. Just right along there from like behind the ears. And again, I can feel like saliva starting, like things are moving. Yep. And then, I mean, it's not like the worst thing in the world to start with the arms, but you know, we really want to support the movement out before we bring more stuff to the ducts, right? So we want to support the ducts before we bring more content for them to deal with. And then there are a number of other lymphatic points. So this is the main, this is the drainage for the head. And then there's one right here. And so again, like there's a similar kind of pressure and motion and movement just to like give a little pumping here. And then in the armpit, similar, you can just, you know, anyhow, you can get a little movement and pumping action, but you can just use your fingers, super subtle, both sides. And then there's one here in the belly, so you just want to give a little, it's like petting yourself. And then the inguinal lymph in this inguinal crease. And you just kind of swipe that up. Some people get a lot of congestion here, swelling. And especially if you have edema in your legs, swelling, or water weight in your lower body, you really want to do the lower body part. I tend to default to like the quick version of just doing the upper body, head and neck, because it really helps prevent headaches for me. So that's kind of my default. And then there's behind the knee. So again, you just kind of like, you can, you know, do a physical pumping motion with that gentle pressure from your fingers, or you can just pump with your fingers under the knee. There goes the brush. Now, if you're going to use the brush, you want to do it before a shower or a bath. This is not exfoliation. It kind of like does that a little bit, but that's not the point. Okay, so exfoliation is not the point. But again, you know, I would just do this to start, get the ducts moving, the drainage ducts moving. And then, like I showed with the arms, but then you brush up. You're always brushing up towards the drainage ducts. Or like, you know, if you're doing the neck, then it's down, always towards the drainage ducts. Go all the way down. This is especially good if you have edema on the lower legs. And then you bring it back up. Bring it back up. You know, I guess it's fine to do this with clothes on, but I've always done it naked in the bathroom before. So before bathing. So make sure that you're bringing it all the way back up. And even if you're just doing the, you know, if you're doing the hand motions or the pumping, then bring it back up to the inguinal. And then end with another round at the drainage ducts. Whew. Yeah, everything's moving. I can feel like, it feels like light, effervescent sensation through my body. So I can tell that things are moving in the right direction. And that's what we want. That's what we want. So, lymph practice for you. Again, you can do this as part of a morning practice. You can do it, right before a shower or bath, and definitely, or you could do it when you're like making your tea or whatever, however you can fit it in, so that it feels easy. And like I said, often, like my quick go-to is just to do some of these and some of this. Ooh, And then like that feels good for me. I don't have a lot of tendency to hold water weight in my lower body, but I do have a tendency to have congestion in my head, and it causes headaches. So that is what feels supportive to me. And then certainly if I'm in a cleanse or doing a detox, like I would want to do this every day to support that first line of detoxification, first in line system that's really handling moving things out of the body that we don't need anymore, including physical toxins and old stuck emotions and just general metabolic waste, which we do not want to be recirculating. Okay, I hope this serves you well, and certainly we will be including this practice in the annual Spring Cleanse cohort, which begins soon. I hope you come join us. There are multiple practices and many, many recipes and protocols for addressing all kinds of aspects of wellness. And we support the body in its natural sequence of cleansing and detox to give you a spring reset in alignment with the seasonal energies. Spring is really supportive for cleansing and detoxing and sets you up for having a vibrant and vital summer and rest of your year. So come join us in the annual Spring Cleanse cohort. I look forward to seeing you there. Blessings on your way.